Você citou duas vezes até aqui o termo corrupção. Esse é um tema que te incomoda, que você sempre trata. Você já fez acusações sérias, graves a respeito de arbitragem do futebol brasileiro. Como é que você está encarando esse assunto e como é que você vê a sua contribuição nesse debate para o futebol do Brasil?
Well, it bothers me that we can't talk about it openly. I think Brazil should be proud that it's doing something about it. You know, Cajuru and Romário and Senator Portinho, they're one of the few countries in the world that have opened up an investigation that are trying to do something about it. It is a global problem. It's not a Brazilian problem. So corruption in the form of player underperformance is an incredible problem in football, in tennis, in cricket. And there are prosecutions that happen all over the world when this happens. Now, new technology allows us to see anomalies in player behavior. So instead of people attacking somebody like me that bring these problems to the forefront, that show how technologies can make this game better, why don't we admit that it's a problem? Doping in cycling, everybody wanted to deny it until Lance Armstrong, the greatest cyclist in the world, suddenly had to admit it. So we have that problem in football. It's a reality. I think it's amazing that people will make big news about a player, an individual player taking a small amount of money to do something he shouldn't, when we have a culture of corruption that surrounds the organizations, federations. We have teams that pay people money to win games, pay people money to lose games. We have betting companies that do the same thing. Now that betting is proliferating even more so with what they call prop bets, where you bet that a player will score or that he won't score or they get a yellow card or they won't get a yellow card. The dangers of corruption, which have always been there for many motives, sporting motives, gambling motives, it's only getting harder to police because of technology is a two-way street, right? It's easier to make these bets now. So I think that executives like me, the people at the Federation, the team owners, we should all be working to solve these problems that we know are there. Because when I see a player run down the field and score an incredible goal, and I see kids crying in the stands out of joy because their idol scored a goal, shouldn't we all know that that was an honest play, that it happened because two teams were fighting at their highest level, trying to win the game, and that nobody, whether it's players or gamblers or referees, we want a pure result, that what we see on the field is the beauty that we know it should be. So corruption does bother me. It's happened in our league for the last few years. It's happened in Greece, in Turkey, in England, in Germany. It happens in the World Cup. It happens in UEFA. So yes, it bothers me, and I'm not going to shut up about it just because people don't want to talk about it. I'm going to try to make the game better.
Apesar de ser um problema mundial, como você citou agora há pouco, você sente que no Brasil é pior, o problema aqui é menor do que lá fora, quando se compara a dificuldade aqui no Brasil para se combater algum tipo de corrupção no futebol, algum tipo de manipulação de resultado aqui, você entende que é um problema maior ou menor do que o que é enfrentado lá fora, onde você também tem clubes?
No, I don't think it's worse here. It's clearly not. In fact, the technology, the methodology, which was developed to help see match manipulation, was developed in Europe. For Europe. Countries all over Europe have the same problem. And the methodology was developed in part through investigations. So they would arrest or interview people that manipulate matches, and they would learn the tricks and the tools of the trade, how they teach a player to turn and run the other way instead of intercepting a ball, how they teach a player, a defender, instead of taking advantage of your angle ahead of the player, maybe you adjust your angle and you make it easier to have a pathway to the goal. So this methodology was developed in Europe, not here, not in Brazil, because there were problems everywhere. And now you have technology that makes it easier to see, computer vision. So these little small changes in behavior can be amplified with computer vision so we can see. Now, what that means is if players and referees know that there's this sort of perfect eye in the sky that sees everything, well, they'll stop doing it. But the one thing that does truly upset me when we brought these ideas to the table in Brazil, the answer is, well, let's suspend this man because he's embarrassing our league. Brazil should not be embarrassed. Brazil's the first country that's doing something about it, right? We're going to fix it here, and we're going to be the great example to the rest of the world, because the rest of the world has the problem just as much as we have it here.
Você citou que as federações, as ligas, elas também têm culpa e têm responsabilidade nisso. Diz que passa por CBF, por UEFA, por ligas mundiais. Como é que é a sua relação hoje com a CBF e qual a sua avaliação do trabalho da CBF hoje?
Yeah, no, I did not say the leagues and the federations are guilty of it. I would say that the leagues and the federations globally are embarrassed about the problem. And since they don't really know what to do about it, often they don't engage the problem directly. The CBF in particular does work with technology companies that help to solve the problem. But I'd like to sort of open up, this portfolio of technologies to include more, so the CBF has more tools to challenge this. There's a company that they use actively that tries to identify manipulated games based on the patterns of betting. Well, that company only sees maybe 20% of the market because the people that fix games with large amounts of money, that bet significant amounts of money, they don't do it on retail sites like Batano. They do it in Southeast Asia in dark markets, right? So the company that CBF uses isn't enough. That's one of the tools. We need many more tools. I'm very happy that my relationship with the CBF is improving considerably. Edinaldo recently, made some public statements about changes he wants to make to his staff on the assignments of referees. And Edinaldo is engaging in technology. He's engaging these discussions. He's engaged with Botafogo, very productively over the last couple of months. It's a big job. It takes more than just the CBF. I mean, it's a global problem. So, no, I'm happy that the CBF is really starting to do something about it.